Okay, welcome everyone. This will be the second book review I have done. All I can say is I've got a new love of my life, and that is Veronica Roth. She is the author of the Divergent series, and oh my gosh, I started reading this, and I was thinking, okay. And it was one of those, it gives you a perspective of a lifestyle that, in a way, all of us expect will happen in the future. Some people believe that there's going to be a zombie apocalypse and there's going to be all these people running around eating each other's brains. There's going to be those guys standing on the top of the cars with the big guns going, yep, I'm the bravest. I'm going to survive. I'm the strongest. But this is a perspective that has been written, and I guess I'm a bit biased in this opinion and review, because when I started reading Divergent and it started going into the factions of sector living, and I started understanding that I wasn't the only person who was thinking this was going to be a way of life. Not to the degree that Veronica Roth has written it. It is a fantastic depiction of a future that it possibly could happen, but I've got a similar perspective in a way, which I'm not going to go into detail because that's got nothing to do with this book. But it does. It brings in a world that is divided, and there's ways that it is written that is phenomenal. And Veronica has done such a good job at depicting a relationship with two people that has this, I guess you could say, my hair's in my eyes. It has a way of being intense and intimate without being fully there. And I think, in a way, when I was reading it, I was very thankful that she wrote it that way, because I sat back, and as it started getting to that intense moments that they share, the intimate moments they share, I'm thinking, oh, please don't do it. Please don't go this far. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. And then all of a sudden it was something would happen and the scene would stop. A basic understanding of what Divergent is about is living in a reality that's scary. Really, when you look at it from a mother's point of view, when you look at it, I think, oh my gosh, I really don't hope my children grow up this way, because it shows you not about making choices, but it embraces a form of abandonment, and it embraces a choice to decide how a person wants to spend the rest of their days. Within the Divergent series, they get a choosing ceremony at 16 years old, and what ends up happening is they allow the choice to go to the abnegation, which the abnegation is selflessness. It's about living without the beauty of life, so to speak. So there's no being obsessive with your looks. There's no being obsessive with material things. It is living a basic life. The erudite are known as the intelligent sector of the factions. They are into research, they are into confronting anything in a way that they fear. So if something is not right, they believe it shouldn't belong. The Dauntless are known as the brave, and they, in a way, are the people. They are reckless. They would be rebellious teenagers in anyone's eyes, but they have standards that they have to live by. They have rules and regulations just like every other faction, but they embrace their fear rather than running from it. So if it frightens you, it's worth accomplishing. The Amity faction of Divergent is a peaceful community that believe in non-violence. It's a mutual territory. It's a sanctuary. They're kind of like, in comparison, the church of the entire community. There's no fighting. Everyone's equal. There's no discrimination. There's no anything of the sort. It's not you come here and try and take over us. It's peaceful. I don't care what your problems are outside here. Once you're in here, that's it. Candor are honest people. They're always up front. They are always just in your face honesty. They don't believe in lying. They always believe in getting to the truth, and they always believe that they should know everything about everyone. And what happens is, during the choosing ceremony, you get a form of acceptance, but also the initial choosing of which faction you want to reside in at 16 years old. It's an initiation test that you have to pass. So then what you're up against is, if you're from Dauntless and you choose Dauntless, but if you're from Erudite, Abnegation, Candor, or Amity and you choose Dauntless, you are up against the training of people who have always been Dauntless to coming into something that's completely foreign. The book itself is amazing, because what Veronica's done is taken a girl, basically a sister and a brother, split them up completely, which by all means I did not expect. I did not know whatsoever. And when I was reading through, I noticed that the way she had written it was kind of, each character had its own story. It was never just based, don't get me wrong, like Tobias and Triss, like Tobias is 4, with the relationship that 4 and Triss had, it was two completely different people. And the way she has written it is, each character has their own story, their own part, their own main place within the divisions and the factions. And there's always, for a fact, if she starts talking, say about Caleb's a completely different character to, you've got Christina and Triss and 4 and Zeke, and you've got all these people that you're sitting back going, okay, I know this person because there's a story formed around them. Very well written is all I've got to say. But through the Divergent, the first book of Divergent, that's pretty much what we go through, is the initiation phase. And it's the choosing ceremony, the initiation. In the second book here, which is Insurgent, it's another beautifully written book. You're going through the choices that a person makes under pressure, under certain situations, engaging in certain consequences, and taking, I guess in a way, taking a blame for somebody else. You find out a lot more about the erudite in Insurgent. It's hard to do a book review and sit here and go, I really don't want to spoil it for everyone. So I kind of sound like I'm being very vague and I'm not interested, but by all means, I am actually trying not to spoil it for you because I really want you guys to read these books. But it kind of, she struggles through a choice, and upon struggling through this choice, she makes she kind of drags a couple people into this choice, but at the same time, she's using her knowledge of what she knows, and she takes on her selflessness and puts it in a form where sacrificing is a form of bravery in a way. So sacrificing herself is a form of bravery. She wants to protect those around her and realizes that this is her way of doing it. I can't really go into much more detail because otherwise I'm going to give the book away, and I don't want to do that for you guys. But with saying that, this covers to a point where Veronica's done a brilliant job at exposing people that what they're used to living in and their life is only a small dot on the map of the world. So they find out that the sense of security that they've always found comfort in has just been thrown out the window. Then brings us to Allegiant. Allegiant was the group formed within the community, and they decided that they were going to break the rules because they didn't agree with the taking over of power, in a sense, because it comes to a point where I am actually going to have to say, right, this is about this is about that, this is about this. But I want you guys to read these books for yourselves because the adventure is amazing. It's about, I can't really say anything because it's okay. The Divergent are known as, I guess in a way you find out in this book, which I'm going to have to give some sort of part of it away. The Divergent themselves are the people who fit into multiple factions. They are able to transition and survive within different communities. They've got abnegation traits, dauntless traits, erudite traits, candor traits. They've got amity traits. They're known as, the Divergent themselves are known as genetically pure, and they believe that when people were genetically pure, that my hair. When people were genetically pure, then they were safe to come out of the community that they were living in, and the genetically damaged would stay there and be there till such time as they were purified. That's where Allegiant comes in, because when they go outside the fence, they discover this entire new world, which they've only seen, I guess you could say, it's like putting a state on that map, and they have only ever lived in that state. They have only ever known that state. They have always been told you are not allowed to go outside the fence, so they've never gone outside the fence. Then the Allegiant decide, well, we're going to completely go against everything that's happened, and we're going to go outside the fence. So then they meet the Bureau, and then in this book, in the Allegiant, it pieces it all together that their entire life they haven't necessarily been lied to, they've just been falsely informed. So what they do is they use their power, as in the Bureau use their power, to manipulate a truth of what they believe will help genetically purify people to a point where when they come out, they're going to be people who can pass on these genes to offspring that will raise a better generation. There we go. That's a better way of putting it. But in all honesty, I commend Veronica Roth for the way that she wrote Allegiant, because it was definitely the finality of the series. Because there's a part in there where I sat there and I looked at, I was sitting back going, oh, please don't do it, please just don't do it. But not, it was more that, oh no, that real, okay, I get why she did it. And you'll notice when you read Allegiant why I said that. But she's got such a talent for writing this series. I didn't want it to end, but as I said, there's a finality to Allegiant. It is a bang. This is it. This is the only book. If somebody tries to, I guess in a way, if somebody tried to start writing onto this and calling it like Resurrection, or I don't know, like just something that they said, oh, this is based on this series, there is nothing they can go by. There is nothing that they can use to lead on other than Tobias himself and his mother. That's the only thing they can really go on, because everything else was just bang. And in a way, I'm thankful that Veronica did that, because I think it needed that. There was no, don't get me wrong, there was never any uncertainty in the series whatsoever. You always knew what was going on, what part people played, what section they were living in, why they fitted into this, why they chose this. And it was, as I said, different people, different stories coming together, and it worked. Absolutely worked. As I said, I wasn't disappointed when I finished reading Allegiant. I really wasn't. But at the same time, I was kind of disappointed, because I wanted to read more. I wanted to read another part of this story. But I can understand why she did it. I do hope in the near future there would be something brought out to do with, I guess, the life after in a way, of Tobias and Christina. And yeah, I shouldn't really go into it. I guarantee everyone's just Googled it anyway, going, okay, what happened to the Legion? But no, I sort of sit back and I think part of me really, I would be quite happy to sit here and read these to you guys. I would be quite happy to sit down and just do like a audio, read the books to you. If you have trouble reading, I would gladly sit down and read these books. It'll take me a while because it means that I'd have to sit down and find some time to be able to read. This is why it's been so long since I've been able to do the review. I'm busy. I think I found like an hour out of my day to sit down and do this. Like, I do all of these on the first take. I don't have a choice. So I've pretty much recommend the Divergent series, which is Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant. If you want to read up on them, please feel free, because you will love these books. You will absolutely love these books. In a way that they provide you with this insight to a world that we live in. Really, when you think about it, we live in. We've got people who will just give and give and give, and they'll take nothing in return. Then you've got people who just, their hunger for knowledge, and they want to study, they want to do this, they pride themselves on knowing everything. There's rebellious kids that I have no idea where their parents ended up at. I mean, when I was 11 years old, I was out riding my bike with my friends, and I was playing netball, and I was doing all this stuff that kids do. I was playing sport. I was in school. 11 years old these days, these kids are running around trying to steal cars. But at the same time, you've still got that rebellious side of things where they're not necessarily brave. They're just reckless. And a lot of children are very reckless. Especially these. When I say children, I'm referring to from like 10 to 18 kind of thing. So I'm not meaning as in like a 4-year-old that falls off a trampoline. I'm meaning as in kids that these days they take pride on people living in fear of them rather than coexisting, and then they've got to find people that, yeah. Anyway, that's a completely different topic. My apologies. The Dauntless, pretty much the brave, the people who face their fears. So, like, if you're afraid of heights and you go bungee jumping, if you're very good friend of mine, he was petrified of heights, and then he went and flew a plane, and he's like, I love heights. Heights are fantastic. I'm sitting there still going, I do not like the idea. It's not going in tunnels. Don't like bridges. Like, nope. Amity, like as I said, the peaceful, the sanctuary, the living with yourself and being able to resolve resolve issues in a way where there's no wars, there's no fighting, there's no guns. It's a person who stands there and says, okay, this is what we need to discuss. It's discussed and then it's dealt with, rather than fighting and fighting and fighting. Then you've got these people who in society are just too... Have you ever met somebody and sat there and gone, oh my gosh, you are just too honest for your own good. It is going to let you down one day. You've got these people who just... You sit there and you think, why would you tell me this? I just don't. No. Don't want to know it. So it's kind of, you look at the personality traits, which is really what they are. The personality traits that Veronica Roth has taken. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning. Hang on a second, mouthful of coffee. Wait up. As I said, I don't get a chance to do second takes at this. The personality traits that Veronica Roth has taken and placed in to the books are everyday emotions and depictions of real life. We get up, we're based on routine. We get up, we go to school, we go do this, we go do that. We mingle with people that hate us or dislike us, or we're civil to people even if we know that as soon as we leave school we're not going to speak to them or socialize with them outside of school. But it shows a life within the realistic boundaries of day-to-day life. And with having read about a lifestyle that could be a reality that we could all be living in, and somebody's just gone, okay, I want you living here, you living there, and you living there, but I want you to be friends with this person, even though I know you don't like their traits, because we always go for people with similar personality traits that we socialize with. Sometimes we get that protective instinct over somebody, not who we see as weak, but we see as somebody who we can protect and help. So if somebody is too honest for their own good, it's like you want to be standing there to be like, no, just shush, 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 just hold on a second, don't go there. But at the same time, we've got that variation, whereas though these people have been within the books, they're being confined to living life with only one set emotion, or the lifestyle that they're living is based on one specific genre, I guess you could say, if that helps you relate to it easier. But you've got these acts within that just make it work. And for those of you who like reading a series that you just cannot put down, if I had the time, I would have sat down and just read. But I've got so much on, I very rarely get to, it takes me a month to read them because my home life is so chaotic and hectic. So I do hope that you enjoy reading the Divergent series. I recommend it beyond all belief, believe me. I feel very strongly that if I even see Veronica Roth's name on a shelf, I will gladly buy that book without even looking at the cover, because the first thing I noticed with Divergent was the actual spine of the book. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a few birds, and the coloring of it. I saw it and I was like, it was sitting next to I think it was a book series to do with a dark angel or something like that. I was actually looking at buying that book, but there was like, this book was here and the books I was looking at were here, and then I saw this and I'm just like, that looks interesting. It's just Divergent. Okay. Hadn't heard of the movie, didn't even know it was coming out, and I've looked at this book and gone, major motion picture in 2014, really? But mind you, I I'll admit this. I lent these books to my cousin. I had to buy new books because the ones I got, the covers were this. There was no movie anything. And I've actually got the original Divergent and Insurgent covers when it was just a bare book. So I had no idea about the movie. When you go to the bookstore or to wherever you purchase these from, be prepared, because your perception of what reality could turn into, you'll feel an emotional attachment to these books, because some part of you somewhere is going to go, I really think that could happen. Put the zombie apocalypse aside. Put the world going to end in a big bang. Like, we're not going to be able to stop it if it does. But to have this presented to you in a way that all of a sudden, like, your life could be controlled. Everything about your life will be living within a cage, not like a zoo animal, but as a person that you either make a difference or you don't. You either strive to achieve or you die. That's a bit extreme, but it's choosing to live without a faction, like choosing to live without that security of a community, living without a purpose. And then all of a sudden you join somewhere that your only purpose is to stick with being that person, rather than just making those choices for yourself, having those choices taken away from you. I would recommend teenagers reading it. I honestly would, because I think they would be a lot more appreciative of the lifestyle that they have, rather than sitting there saying, I want more. But it is a very amazing read. That's all I've got. I can't say any more without letting you know exactly what happens within the books. I've seen people do the read by read. They've got, okay, in this chapter this is what happens, in this chapter this is what happens. It's a journey you have to take for yourself. It truly is. So I do hope you let me know what you think of the Divergent series. Honestly, just post a comment or send me an email on the inbox. If you've got any books that you would recommend me reading, please feel free. I'm going to be doing another review. I'm pretty sure, judging by the time, I may have enough time to do the other series that I finished reading a while back, but we'll see how I go. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Divergent. Good read, good book, and much love to Veronica Roth. Bye, guys.